Welcome to prefabricated structures. So we have seen in the previous video that what are the modular coordinations and how modules are divided into basic modules and multi modules. In today's video we will be looking into for the standardization and production part of prefabricated structure. Standardization in prefab means what? For a speedy construction, we have to use some repetitive use of building elements. So to fix up some small standards. So if we want to fix up a particular wall panel or a particular column or a particular beam, we have to use repetitive building elements. Then only we are able to have some part called as standardization of prefabrication elements. Now why it is becoming very essential? So why the standardizations are more important? First of all, it will facilitate very quicker construction of similar elements, avoid duplication of effort, means you are not able to duplicate the particular single element is produced from the single part of standardization with all the considerations like that we have to consider. To adopt the prefabrication in actual practice, it is necessary for, that the main parameters of the whole building are standardized. So to have that particular actual practice, it is very necessary that the main parameters of the whole buildings are standardized. Then only the whole part of the building can be easily assembled and can be managed for every part of the things. Each and every component that forms a building can be standardized. So every component of a building can be taken into standardizations, such as I mentioned earlier, the examples: wall panel is there, a column is there, a beam is there, roof slab it can be, or a flooring it can be, or even we can also consider the part of window panels or door panels in that manner. So we have to think that what kind of elements we are going to use repetitively. So based upon the repetitive use of the elements, we can fix up one single standardizations. For each element, a limited number of types of and sizes are established with a definite gradation in geometrical dimensions and reinforcement ratio. So when it comes to a particular element, so we have a column. So column design basically is based upon the IS 456. Same all elements is taken and then we are going to consider, but some part is changes. So now what comes the typical types? So typical types are, what are the types? So it may be a circular in a section, or it may be a rectangular in a section, or it may be a square in a section. Size is the variation, whether we want with a 0.3 mm diameter, 0.3 meter diameter, or 0.5 diameter of a circular column, or we require the square column of 0.3 by 0.3, or we require a rectangular column of a width 0.23 and of a breadth 0.45. In that manner the sizes and types are going to also define, and they will be establishing them into a geometrical parameter, and this will become as one of the standardization. Now the dimensions are over. Now what about the reinforcement ratio? Reinforcement ratio is again depending upon the part of designs. So designs are again going to relate with our previous designs of RCC and steel, wherever we are going to use these type of sections. If we are using a RCC, so example is simple, that RCC column requires 4%, 0.4% to 1% of reinforcement, and minimum number of bars should be 4 of a size of 12 mm diameter in a longitudinal section, and stirrups we have to provide them of 150 mm center to center of minimum 8 mm diameter. So these are some essential parts which are made as a standardization in the prefabrication structures. Next point comes to flexural elements should retain their cross-sectional dimension such that with a change in reinforcement ratio according to length and loading. So which are the flexural elements we have to first find out. So flexural elements are roof such as slab, then comes beams are under the flexural elements. So to retain their cross-sectional dimensions with a change in reinforcement ratio to length and loading can also be considered. So we have seen a very huge depth of beams also and the depth of slab also. Sometimes we have seen the slabs of a very small depth and as compared to beam which is very length and it is having a very deep depth, because the load transfer is more, means how the loading pattern is going, on that basis we have to consider the particular flexural elements depth which are going to get the change in reinforcement. Columns have constant dimension, change in reinforced or if needed change in grade of concrete. So now columns have a constant dimension change in reinforced or if needed in the grade of concrete. So if we consider that the column has to be prepared with a RCC only, then we have to prepare some of the dimensions, because the every column in a building will not be same. We have to change it. So that particular changes will be occurring in the column dimensions. Now we are going to have the column grade also we can change in this part. So column concrete grade, how we are going to change is the most important thing in this particular part. So the concrete grade, when we are going to change, this concrete grade will be changing as per the part of construction required from the person and what he is going to require. Means the client is asking you regarding the particular element. The element should be of this much dimension, the element should be of this much grade, and if it is required then only we are going to change the particular grade of concrete. If at all it is excessive use of concrete, total cost of construction will be reduced through repeated use of the forms and unification of reinforcement mats and cages. So now when we comes for the standardization, we have fixed one standard which will use continuously. Continuously process means repetitive use we are going to do. When we are going to do the repetitive use, we have to see that the particular materials concrete is used. So we are going to bring the raw material such as aggregate, sand and cement will be of the required quantity of concrete itself only, not more than that. The wastage here we can make it as a 0% wastage when they are prepared at the plant and they are brought at the site for the erection part. So repetitive elements are used, there is no wastage of the material, then there is a reduction in the total cost of construction also. And because of the standardizations, the elements are repeated. When the elements are repeated for a particular standard size, then we can say there is no need of providing more formworks. Formworks in the sense that formwork, once it is prepared, it can be used for the whole purpose of the construction. So the whole thing can be easily prepared for the part of the sections or maybe elements or dimensions of the columns or beams or slabs can be maintained uniform. Unchanging dimension of column from story to story or one type of floor beam supported by columns can be made. So we can use such that unchanging dimension of columns from story to story. We have seen some of the stories such as bottom floor will be having a huge size of column, and when it goes for the upper stories, then the column sizes are reduced because the dead load is coming less in the upper story. We are going to reduce that column sizes, and only the column is going to support with the basement columns such as the ground floor columns, which are huge in the sizes. So now this can be maintained with a particular single dimension. When we are maintaining it with a single dimension, that time we can say that a story to story column changing cannot be much feasible, because we have to again change the formwork, which will cost us more again. So if we are not changing the column sizes from floor to floor, story to story, then we are going to have a uniform part of connections. We can easily make the connections between column to column. And when the beams are also prepared, these beams are of a uniform size and shape. When these beams are uniform shape, size and shape, that time we can also maintain their beam and column joint also with a slight modifications. Slight modifications will be occurring at the part of corner sections or at the intermediate part of sections. Intermediate part of sections means we can say somewhere the columns are located in the plan at the middle section. That time the beam has to support for the column. So in this section we are going for the standardization of prefabrication structures. Then we have to see what are the advantages of the standardizations. So advantages of standardizations makes us a very easier design. So design will be very easy for us to prepare. Easier manufacturing means we are going to maintain the uniform size, uniform shape, which will be preparing us for less amount of effort for the formwork, and the particular material wastage will also be less. A reinforcement ratio is maintained throughout the sections and easily quality can be achieved. For that reason the easier manufacture is going to occur in this part of fabrication. Then comes the easier erection and completion. As we know that easier erection and completion can be maintained, means the easier erection and completions, we can say that the part which we are preparing from the plant is already or can be easily installed at the site, such that the joints are easily fixing up, or we don't have any part of difficulty when we are going to erect, because we are maintaining the size, dimensions and standardizations. So most important standardizations will give us the ease of design, ease of the manufacture, ease of erection and completion of the structure in the particular time. And some of the points such as factors which are going to influence the standardizations, we can see that the most rational type of member for each element is selected from the point of product, from the assembly serviceability and economy. So we can say each element is selected from the point of product. First we have to see what is the product. Product can be coming from the part of material, which kind of material we are going to use. So material is going to have a relation with the point of product. And second comes the same product, how we are going to assemble, means the serviceability as well as the economy will also come into account. We should not have a change of size to size and dimensions to dimensions, which will increase the cost of construction, as well as the serviceability may not able to provide us by the plant person for the easy installation or for the further joints wherever the joints are there, such as column joints, beam joints, roof to beam joints or roof to column joints. These joints cannot be maintained uniform. So for maintaining the uniformness, we require the non-influenced standardizations. Then second point of influencing is number of types of elements will be limited and they should be used in large quantity. So when we are preparing a standard format, in that standard format there are no changes. So there the number of elements will be of similar type. There are no change at all only. If we require a rectangular column for this and this particular structure, we are going for rectangular column itself only. No change in the any part of column sizes, or no change of the column dimensions, or no change of the reinforcement ratio, or no change of the concrete product also. So they should be used in the large quantity, then only we are going to maintain the particular number of types of elements. Otherwise, if we are preparing them for a very smaller quantity, they are not so feasible. This will be the second point of influencing the standardization. Then third is the extent possible to largest size to be used, which is less in the part of number of joints and less number of joints, and where we can say that the larger size should be used, which is less number of joints. The span should be more, where we are going to have very less joints. So joints, if we consider for a roof can be joined at the corners, columns can be joints at the ends, intermediate beams if they are coming, then we have to provide one more joint in the column, which will not be so feasible. So we have to take that part of the element inside the particular column section where we have to join, then the further construction takes place. Size and number of prefabricated in the limited by the weight in overall dimensions that can be handled by transportation. What is the size? How many number of prefabrications are limited by the weight? What amount of concrete can be taken from one place to another place? So overall dimensions that can be handled by the transportation. So vehicles which are going to take the elements from the production plant to the site plant, that time how much they are able to handle is the most important part, which will be relating in the dimensions that can be handled by the transportation elements. Then comes, it is, we can say the factorization is very good. So for that part, it is preferable to have all prefabricated approximately of a same weight, means same density material. Concrete means we are going to for a concrete material only, very near to the lifting capacity of the equipment. So when we are considering the part of standardizations, the most important is the materials which we are going, or the vehicles which are going to erect them, they should have a part of lifting capacity. If we maintain one single element of or all elements of same sizes, then it can be easily lifted and easily erected at a particular place, which will not cost us to change more and more vehicles for the erection purpose or for the particular transportation purposes. That time we can say these are some factors which can be influenced in the standardizations. Now coming to system of prefabrication. System of prefabrications, here we can able to see some 6 part of prefabrication structures, such as easily we can see that one is solid part. The whole section is maintained of a solid sections. Hollow or cored unit. Hollow or cored unit means we can say some holes are provided, or we can say some voids are provided in the concrete section, but also it can take a same strength of a solid section. Then the ribbed panels. Ribbed panels will be used as the particular type wherever the part of openings are required in the bottom section. We can say the ribbed panels are going to used so much in this section. Then coming for the solid of the part in the solid section, so we can say in this solid section the 1 and 2 are known as the particular bottom surface and the top surface of the sections. Then again the cored unit, we can say this particular cored unit is maintained as the part of the section where the upper part and lower part are again wedged with the between section as an opening. So in this part of between section, we can say this between section is said as the openings. So this part is again changes. Then coming for the again a ribbed panel, this is one more type of a ribbed panel where we can see a bottom part and top part is again mentioned, and they are going to change. Now in this system of what system of prefabrication is there, why system is first referred. So system is referred to for the particular method of construction of buildings using the prefabricated components which are interrelated in functions and are produced to set for instructions. So these systems will be having interrelated functions with the production part. So when the interrelated functions are there, such as we can say the dimensions are more important, the material is more important, then the transportation is more important. These all are related functions which can be used for the production part. Then once the production is prepared, then we can say the set of instructions are known as the system of prefabrications. Some other, with certain constraints, several plans are possible. Means some certain constraints we are able to do, but also can be overcoming by the several plans which are possible. Using the same set of components, we can increase the number of elements. The degree of flexibility varies from system to system. Means how the system, one particular plant is using this system, another particular plant is this system, or a element is prepared with this system, a beam is prepared with this system, a roof slab is prepared with this system. So system to system there is a degree of flexibility. We are not changing the dimensions, we are not changing the material, we are not changing the reinforcement ratio, we are only changing some dimensions. Once the dimensions are prepared, means they are fixed for a whole plant of a construction of a one particular section, then we have to use one particular system. In this, whenever we require for a columns, we will go for the column system of production. Whenever we require for a beam, we go for a beam part of systems production. This type of system to system degree of flexibilities are there. However, in all the systems, there is a certain order and discipline. There is a certain order and discipline, means the system of prefabricated structures can construction depend on the extent of the prefabricated components. The some part we can say there are some part of characteristics which can be used. We can say that the systems will be intensified usage of spaces. There is more amount of space can be used. Straight and simple walling scheme. Straight and simple walling scheme for a production of a wall parts, we have to use straight and simple part. Limited sizes and numbers of components will be available. Limited opening in bearing walls are available. Regulated locations of partitions are there. Standardized service and stair units are there. Limited sizes of doors and windows with regulated positions. Structural clarity and efficiency. Suitability for adoption in low rise and high risk blocks. Ease of manufacturing, storing and transporting. Speed and ease of erection. Simple joining systems can be also used in the part of erections, or we can say this as the system of prefabrications. Processes involved in manufacture of PFS, or we can say processes involved in the part of prefabricated structures. So here we are able to see that three part of processes are available: main process, auxiliary process and subsidiary process. Main process, providing and assembling the particular molds, placing reinforcement cage in the position for reinforced concrete work and stressing the wires in the cases of pre-stressed elements. First part is normal, as we are able to see how we are going to provide. So there is a assembly of molds will be there, placing of concrete cages will be there in the position. Then the concreting work will be continuous and stressing the wires if they are as the pre-stressed elements, or pre-stressing is going to do where we are going to elongate some stressing wires, then this will be completed. Then comes fixing of inserts and tubes wherever necessary. These inserts and tubes are necessary means whenever we are providing a joints, or we are providing some openings, or we are providing some hollow sections, that times we are going for the inserts or tubes in the main process. Then comes the pouring of concrete whichever is prepared, we are going to pour it, vibrating the concrete into the mold such that it should settle. There should not be any voids or honeycombs in the part of concreting. Demolding the forms and stacking the precast products. When we remove the molding or form work, that time again we are going to take them to stack at a particular place where we are going to provide for the curing. Or sometimes one day part of sections are going to be used, means today morning we have ordered and tomorrow we require the particular section for the preparation, that time we have to use a steam curing if necessary. Steam curing is the process of curing where 1 day curing of steam will give us a strength of concrete after 28 days. Whatever the strength will be there, the same strength will be provided by the 1 day of steam curing. Auxiliary process, the second process, which is necessary for successful complement of processes covered by the main processes. So we have to consider that part of the processes where we are going to use, wherein the sections will be used for the part of elements or preparation, such that in this sections we will be saying that the assembly auxiliary part main by the process, then coming for the successful complements, then mixing and manufacturing of fresh concrete is the second process, which is done in the mixing station or by batching plants or by the matching plants, whatever. Prefabrication of reinforcement cage, which is done at the workshop or at the steel yard for the preparing of cages or for preparing of some sections or some the elements. Manufacture of inserts and other finishing items to be incorporated in the main precast products. So some inserts are there or some tubes are going to be incorporated. They have to be prepared in the main process only or main product precast only. Then finishing the precast products, we will be finishing the precast products, and testing of products will be taking place in the auxiliary part. So when we are going to test, we require the such and such amount of strength, then only we are going for the particular elements to take to the site for erection. Subsidiary process, storage of materials, transport of cement and aggregate, transport of green concrete and reinforced cages, transport of stacking the elements, precast elements, repair and maintenance of tools will be taking place, tackles and machines, generation of steam, etc. will be coming under the subsidiary part, which we have to use in the sections. So what is this particular section? We can say that the particular system is referred to a particular part manufacturing part of precast elements. The methods of manufacturing precast elements are stand method and flow method. So what is stand method? Here the molds remain stationary at a place when the various processes involved are carried out in a cyclic order at the same time. We can say that the stand method will be same as the normal method, but everything is prepared at the plant. Then what is the flow method? Here the precast unit under considerations is in a movement according to the various processes. Factors which are involved in the work are carried out in an assembly in a line method. So we have to prepare for the assembly in the line method, then only the flow method can be taken place, means the concreting will be in the flowing part only. Stand part will be one part is completed, then going for other part if it is required in a cyclic order, means we are first preparing columns, first we will prepare a columns only. Standing elements are beam, which will not be concreted or casted, that will be in the hold itself only, that we can say it as a cyclic process. Then some factors which are influencing method of manufacturing. So in this we can say the methods which are going to use as a manufacturing are the size and the total number of elements to be produced. So first we comes with the size and the total number of elements which will be produced will be number of molds, required degree of mechanics, and need of special curing method, whether it is required special curing such as steam curing is required or the product should be prepared in 1 day, like that. Some other part is desired rate of output, how much amount of outputs we can going to prepare, the number of molds required for degree of mechanics, again same it will be coming, need of special curing method it will be coming. Then shape and type construction feature of elements, special shape are required, straight are required, curved are required, circular are required. So some special part of shapes are required type of a finish, whether the texture finish is a single layer or multi-layer or some pattern part we are going to use or utilize as the required finish. Facilities available in production setup are accelerated curing is there, which is a steam curing, or overhead a gantry crane which can be easily moving the particular element from one place to another place within a less time, wherein we are going to achieve speedy part of preparation. Then coming for economic aspects, minimized cost of production will be there, minimized cost of productions, and again we are going to have a particular part of construction cost will be reduced. Vertical molding and horizontal molding. What is vertical molding? Types of molds, how we are going to use, whether the types of molds will be most important. Then the wooden molds are there, steel molds are there, concrete molds are there, plastic molds are there. So we are having various types of molds which can be used as a different horizontal molding or different vertical moldings. So in this part there is the particular ease of work which we can use. So we can use some plastic molds, we can use some concrete molds, we can use some steel molds. We can also go for some types of molds which can be other different than these materials. So we can also go for some part of glass molds or any other type of material molds. Methods and stages of work in pre-stressing. So there is a pre-casting method. So one first pre-fasting we can say or pre-casting. So sorry for this is pre-casting, so don't read it in the other manner. This is pre-casting. Okay, thank you so much. Then individual mold method. So molds which can be easily assembled, easy to transport, timber or steel, whichever the part of mold, needle or mold vibrators. Then coming for it is used in beams, cranes or window panels, any desired dimensions, weight up to 200 meter. So the dimensions up to 300 meter, 200 meter up to the particular weight. Then comes battery form method. Battery form method, the shuttering panels may be adjusted into the form of battery at the required distances equal to thickness of concrete members. It is used for interior wall panels, shells, roof or floor slabs. Length may be from 18 meter, 3 meter breadth, weight 5 tons. Suitable for mass production of wall panels. Shuttering cost is reduced when we are providing a mass production. Autoclave or trench steam type of curing will be used, so wherein we can produce a material or a product within a 1 day. Then stack method for casting of identical reinforced or pre-stressed panels one over the other with separating media imposed by between, such that when we are providing two layers, if it is a beam and if it is also a beam, we have to provide one more intermediate part such that this is a supporting for the identical reinforced or separating the medium, which will not allow this load to act on this particular material. We can say easily this is easily maintained. Use of floor or roof slab panels. The dimensions are of any desired length. Breadth is 1 to 4 meters. Weight going for 5 tons. So see, when we maintain 5 tons, we will be calling for a 510 of capacity crane only for lifting the other elements, and it can be easily done. Tilting mold method. Tilting mold method means molds can be filled using hydraulic jacks used for exterior wall panels where special finishes are required or in one finish. The dimensions are in length 6 meter, 4 meter, 5 meter. Then comes long line method. Long line method is ribs, slabs, purlins, piles, beams. Length may be from desired any length, breadth 2 meter. So up to weight of 10 tons, ideally suitable for pre-tensioned method. Extrusion method. Extrusion method is the long concrete mold with a constant clearance, concreting and vibration done automatically. Roof slabs, foam, concrete, wall panels used for reinforced blocks or foam concrete panels. So these are some of the production methods we can see. Then coming for the part of the things, we can say this is the concrete part where the stages working in precasting. So we can easily say that the first concrete is prepared, then concrete is taken into mold. Mold is having a preparation. Which type of preparation? Then this will go for the particular component. So in this section, three materials are more important: steel required, mold required, concrete required. For concrete, we required a raw material. So concrete can be prepared with the raw materials as a mixing. So mixing elements. So also some parts of mixing we have to prepare and fill this concrete into a particular mold. So whatever the mold is going to have, we have to first prepare the size of a mold. So this will be the preparation process. Then when it comes at this particular junction, the particular concrete is going to be filled. Before concrete is going to filled, we have to use some reinforcement if it is provided. So reinforcement will be coming from the steel, and required amount of cutting we have to do for the reinforcements. Then the reinforcement cages or the meshes are provided. These meshes will be placed first, then the formwork is attached, and then the concreting is poured into the particular mold. Then we can see a small part of component is prepared by the wet concrete. This component, when it is not having a sufficient movement of concrete, we go for the compaction. Then this compaction will allow the concrete to get filled into the whole formwork. Then easily it can be completed from every corner part of formwork, easily filled, and we are able to achieve the texture of the element with a smooth surface or whatever the formwork is provided. If it is in the part of hatching or textured part, the same thing we are going for the, again after removal of the formwork, we will go for the curing part. The curing can be done if it is at a long duration, 28 days. If it is a short duration, going for steamed curing or accelerated curings, such that then after this part we will be going for the section of pre-molding. If it is required, the whole cycle is again taken into a reprocess. So whole cycle will be continued. Same again, steel, concrete will be coming into places, and it will be further continued in the same process. So this part of process is continued when the materials are prepared in the huge numbers or the repetitive elements are required. That time we have to use this type of material productions. So in this prefabrication, it is very easy for maintaining the material sections and all things. Thank you. See you in the next video.